everybody. This is Kimberly. I am an eternal life student, which simply means human. And at the end of the day, that is really the only title that we need. I like to consider people like open books, and I think it's important for us to learn from each other. So today, I have a guest speaker. His name is Keith Channell. And hi, Keith, how are you doing?
Good, and you, ma'am?
Doing good. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
Of course. So today's topic is stigmas surrounding recovery, relapse, and harm reduction techniques, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is a very important topic. There's a lot we can learn from this. So I appreciate you taking the time to discuss this with us. Can you tell us a little bit about the topic?
Yes, ma'am. I want to speak about recovery and relapse and the harm reduction technique for a couple of reasons. A lot of the general public is not aware of what the harm reduction technique is. And a lot of the majority, I'd say, is split in half as far as the recovery field does not support this type of program because of the misuse and a misunderstanding of its purpose and how it should be operated in.
Okay. Could you tell us a little more about it?
The harm reduction technique was designed maybe 20, 25 years ago, and the government started this, and it was, and this when they started what's called the methadone program.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And what it was to bring people in to get them off of heroin and other types of opiates at the level that they were at, and gradually reduce them to where they were no longer taking anything.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. But what happened is that the people somehow or another, for whatever reason, they end up staying on that harm reduction technique for years, 20, 30 years, and never coming off.
Okay.
And you have to pay to be on this, and you get government assistance to be in this. So I'm not sure if there's any corruption in that.
Oh,
but
wow.
I just, you know what I'm saying? But
I know.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And I happen to be a recovery coach who practices the harm reduction technique. And I have people from all over the United States who call me. And what my purpose is when they call me, they're getting ready to use. I'm on the phone in case something happens to them. I can call and get them help.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. There's people that do not want to quit cold turkey, and I understand that.
Right.
I spent 11 days myself personally in a detox. And it was one of the worst times ever of my life.
Right.
But it was enough for me not to go back and do it again.
Okay. No, that's great that you were able to do that.
Yes, ma'am. And that's when I decided that I wanted to help people like me, because I've seen so many people come in there and they'd stay for a day or two till this sickness really started to kick in, and then they would run out the door.
Yeah.
Like there's many pathways to the program of recovery. You have to know what's available and then have the support and the help to get you there.
Right.
And I just don't think that there's enough help or support to my government, as I say, as a whole, and that the community as a whole who do not. I don't know if there's anybody in the world who doesn't have hasn't been touched by addiction or some type of, and this really is an illness.
Yeah, no, it is. They say it actually can like rewire your brain, and makes the addiction, it becomes a part of you. It's not as simple as a choice sometimes, right?
It really is. Whenever I first got clean and I was no longer using, I was like, okay, I'm good. And then the next thing you know, all these things that it talks about, and I'm gonna use the 12-step program on this.
Okay.
Series that 6 and 7 talk about shortcomings and defects of character. I didn't realize that I was crazier when I first got clean than when I was out there using.
Yeah, it's different, right? But you're facing the world with open eyes, where before you could keep them closed and be comfortable and safe and numb to it, basically, right?
What happens is, yes, ma'am, is that somehow or another, between the drug use and the lifestyle that we have to surround ourselves in, because it involves a lot of criminal activity. There's no way you can legally use except for one of these programs that the government supports, which I don't support I'm gonna stand there.
Right.
But
That's okay.
it's that we learned to cut off. I learned. I can't say what anybody, but I learned to cut off my humanity switch. No feelings, no emotions. Just go through whatever I have to go through to get what I had to get to escape what I was running from.
It's survival, right? You're basically doing survival technique.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
But there's no empathy for the human race.
Right.
Everybody's a victim. Everybody gets taken hostage. And that if you're not meeting the need that I have at that time, you're taking up space and need to move because there's someone that needs to fill that space.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. That's with many different types of addiction, right? All
Yes,
different
ma'am.
types. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Because we can be anything that causes unmanageability in my life. I have to take a look at it and see. I'm a gym rat. And I have to watch myself because once getting clean, I started working out.
Okay.
And I gradually increased to 7 days a week to twice a day.
Okay.
And it was killing me physically. The joints are coming apart.
Right.
I'm almost 60 years old, so it's a big difference.
Right.
But learning and then eating. You can overeat healthy.
Yes.
And it can make your immune system overreact and cause all kind of physical illnesses that I wasn't aware of, but I know about now.
Yeah. Well,
So
I mean, they say a lot of times one addiction can create many addictions once you have that mindset set into you. So did you start to get addicted to going to the gym, you think?
Yes, ma'am, very much so.
So even though it was better for you health-wise, it ended up turning out not good until you realized it and focused and said, okay, this is harming me now, right?
Yes, ma'am. What you said earlier made so much sense that a lot of people overlook. It's the rewiring of the brain.
Yeah.
It's that my disease, okay, I'm not physically ingesting any kind of illegal or legal substance now. So now I'm getting it through the gym. And then whenever I realized the gym was an issue, then I had to look at everything around that aspect, which was the healthy diets, and one day I'd want to put a little size on. So I would eat real healthy, and put on a lot of weight. And then 6 months down the road, I'd want to cut up. So I would drop 40 pounds, and the emotions,
right,
and the mental that it plays in the mind when you go up and down like that.
Yeah.
It will make ourselves crazy.
Yeah, you're kind of getting your instant gratification a different way. You're finding the things that are piquing that part of your mind, and you don't even realize it until after the fact, right?
Yes, ma'am. You usually have to experience I have to experience some type of consequence or some type of unmanageability that hits me in the face.
Right.
That says, look here, Keith, this is becoming an issue that's unhealthy for you. I try not to gauge life or anything in life as good and bad, but healthy or unhealthy.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah. I mean,
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so here's a question for you.
Okay.
I think that a lot of things in life, this is a personal opinion, is done by choice. You can make good choices, you can make bad choices, right? Healthy choices, unhealthy choices. But in the end, it's up to the individual that has to make the choice of what they want to do. So for example, I can't tell you what to do, right? I can't make the choice for you. It has to be your own choice to want to recover, to want to keep an eye for things that could be causing you harm or a different type of addiction. Would you agree with that?
Very much so. And it's funny you say that, because this has been a discussion that I've had with my sponsor over the last couple of weeks, is that
Oh, really?
the power of choice.
Yes.
People such as myself who is in recovery. When we have the power of choice to choose about things, I have to base it off of rationale and experience. But if I take and place an expectation on that outcome of that choice I just made, it's what's called a down payment on a future resentment.
Yeah.
Because it never works out the way I directly planned it, but it always works out for my benefit if I do what I'm supposed to do and practice some integrity.
True, very true. Expectations can cause a lot of problems, and it can make you feel bad. Even though you think you're kind of reaching for a goal, you're actually doing reverse, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I believe everybody, not just those of us who are have some type of addiction,
Mhm.
but normal people,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure if there are many left in the world.
I was just gonna
I
say
think
that word normal really does not apply anymore.
you know what? Here's something I told my sponsor when I first got clean is that and sober. I says I want to be like a normal human being,
Hmm.
and she says the only thing normal in this world is the setting on a washing machine. Other than that, there isn't.
I would
And
agree with that.
so it's come
uh,
to be very true.
yes. If you start
It's
talking
something
to
I would
people,
love,
if
ma'am.
you, sorry, if you start talking to people and you start learning more about them, you'll realize more and more people are just, they have problems just like everybody else. They're hiding it, they're not sharing it. The more honest people are with each other, you'll realize you're not alone. We all have something we're working on. We all have a problem that we're trying to face. And that's, I think that is what normal should be, right? Normal is everybody working to be better, right?
That should be a normal, yes, ma'am, across the board. We're all looking out for each other's best interests
Yeah.
and to help serve each other. And
Yes.
that keeps it's because people who don't have addictive personalities,
Hmm.
they don't know. But if you'll watch them, they'll use some of the principles that the 12 steps are based off of and not even realize. You
Yes,
know what I mean?
I
And then
do.
they'll struggle just like we do. And
Hmm.
then and eventually after enough pain or unmanageability, they'll come to a reasonable way to handle this that is healthy and not unhealthy.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they're not really any different than us, but and that's the way that I view people who aren't have addictive personalities, but people who do not have addictive personalities, we're they we tend to be looked down on
Hmm. That's what you were
because
saying
they
about the stigma, right?
some
The,
people, yes, ma'am, some people do have not or do not know that they've had contact with someone in their family or friends that have addictive personalities. They usually, when something is rubs them the wrong way, they back off from that friendship or that they
yes.
keep that family at a distance and they don't get to experience or see that it truly is a disease and that needs to be dealt with in that manner, not just I had the choice the
Hmm.
first time I ever used.
Right.
But when it came to the end, I didn't have a choice to stop using. I'll tell you this much.
Yeah.
And this was just me. I got to the program of recovery by grace. Because I
Hmm.
did everything I could to self-destruct. I did nothing to
Oh,
better my life or anyone around me when I was out there.
right.
Now coming in, I find that I'm still here by grace because God, do I have so many character flaws.
Ah,
But I practice every day treating people with love and respect and dignity. And whether I get it back or not, I hope and pray that somewhere down the line that they'll pass it on. Never, if they never show it to me at all, it doesn't matter.
that's right. I mean, that shows that you have compassion and you're doing it for the right reason. You're not expecting something in return. You're giving it away freely, and
Yes,
and that's the way it should be. When you're trying to help, you're not asking for a reward. You're just helping, right?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And when I first got clean, ma'am, I didn't think like that. I didn't. I was just like, because there's a thing in there called the 9-step promises, and and I didn't come in there to get clean nor sober. I came in there to see if they were lying about what they were
Okay. Yeah, you
promising.
want to prove themselves, right?
Yes, and the 9-step promises talks about that we will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us, which is where I was at, because I was immature up here. I really was.
Okay.
And here's a lot of people do not realize that everyone is conditioned by the society they were brought up in
Yes.
and trained through traditions of their family and upbringing, but also the social friends that they kept.
Yeah.
You're affected by that.
Of course. Yes.
And when we don't take a look at all of that, we can have false belief systems
Mm-hmm.
that cause us a lot of harm, but are so comfortable to us, we refuse to let it go because we've been practicing it for so many years.
Yeah, no, it's true. And sorry about that. It's true that you don't realize what you're surrounded by. And if it's harmful, if that's all you know, that's your comfort zone, and you don't even realize it's unhealthy. So
Yeah.
and until
Yeah.
your eyes are open, or you learn what does healthy even mean, you don't even know you're in the wrong direction sometimes.
Exactly.
Right?
And I didn't know. Yes, ma'am. And I didn't know about boundaries.
Yeah, boundaries is a hard one.
Yeah, because there's 3 types of things that I need to look at in boundaries. I need to know that I have to have boundaries that protect me from you or people in the world.
Yeah.
And I have to have boundaries that protect you from me.
Yes.
But then I have to have boundaries that protect me from me.
Yeah. You know what? A lot of people don't talk about that. That's a really good topic. That it's a very important topic that people don't realize that they are their own harm,
Yeah. Yes. And it comes because I've been conditioned to think or believe or see things in a certain way.
Yeah.
Without stepping outside that box and saying, hey man, there is a different view here. There is a different way.
Yeah.
And it may be painful, but it's not as painful as staying the same.
True. Very true. That's where it's so important, where talking to other people, you might learn something different. You might say, hey, wait a minute, I didn't realize that. Just like our conversation right now, boundaries within your own self. Some people may have never even thought of such a subject, but by just listening to you talk about it, you're going to get them thinking and saying, wait a minute, you're right. There are things I do that I shouldn't be doing. I shouldn't be thinking, and that's why it's so important to communicate. It really is.
Yeah. And I didn't, and like I said, when I first got in, I wasn't about this at this level
right
of recovery. But man, one thing I do know that is true. When the student's ready, the teacher will appear. This lady that sponsored me now has changed my life so dramatically. She is definitely God sent, if I may say.
That's great to hear.
I love her and respect her with all my heart. Her and her husband have just changed my life. But here's one thing. I can be on the phone doing this harm reduction technique with someone in California or someone in South Carolina or Virginia. And it could be of any age or any sex. And you can tell and it never really affected me, because you can tell the change in the voice and the attitude and their demeanor when they're talking to you like they are right, like I am to you right now, and then after they've done what they use.
Right.
Now, this is a hard one.
Okay.
I have a son, and his name is Halen.
Okay.
And he's 37 years old, and he happened to be on this, and I have a web page for this, a link. Okay. And he happened to call me up. And I wasn't aware that I knew he was experimenting, but I didn't know he was at that level, that he was at abuse.
Okay.
The first couple of times that my son called me and he says, Dad, I want you to listen to me while I use. Oh God, let me tell you what, man. It was, I prayed the whole time.
Right.
And then here's how cunning my disease is, that about the second or third time he did this,
right,
I could actually feel the dope in my vein. I could taste it in the back of my throat. I could feel the heat. And I actually got physically sick, throwing up, like if I had actually used. And I told him, I said, hey man, I can't do this for you. And and he said, Dad, I can't talk to no one else about this. I don't trust him anymore. He's still using.
Right.
He has had some lengths of dry time. I won't call it recovery. He's been up to 11 days without any using, and I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's part of your life. He's part of you. That's.
He tells me, he says, Dad, he says, I want to quit, but I don't want to quit. And he says, and why can't I wait like you and wait till I get old and then really put effort into it? And I said, God, I said, son, God does not give everybody the same measure of grace. Everybody is different. Yeah. And he may not give that to you. I'm here solely because of his love and favor and mercy, not because of anything I did, because I was. I had overdosed 3 times in 8 days.
Oh my
This last
goodness.
year before I got clean.
Wow.
And the same EMT guy came. And the third time he came, he had to hit me to bring me back.
Right.
And when he brought me back, he says, "Welcome back." And I
Oh
was
my
like,
goodness.
"What have you done?" I
Oh,
had escaped. I said, "You know what kind of lifestyle people like me live, and you brought me back to this crap? Are you serious?
yeah.
Why?" Today I
Angry.
know. Today I know why.
See?
God is. Do you know? I don't know, but life is so amazingly beautiful and painful. Very, very
Yes.
painful.
Very. Yeah.
To be clean. Sometimes it's really hard to be clean and live clean.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about actually picking up. I don't think about using today as much. Sometimes it hits me, but not that often anymore.
Right.
But what hits me is that behavior. Me acting as if I had been using, me acting as if I've been up for days on end, me acting as just wanting to cover my head up, not get out of bed, not wanting to shower, not wanting to brush my teeth.
Yeah. Life can
And-
do that to you. It will give you those feelings. Yeah.
but we have tools. We
Yes.
have steps. We have programs that
Yeah.
can help us do this. And I want to know, and the reason, and I really want to say something about this before we get too far, or
Sure.
run out of time, is that harm reduction technique. I do not support the government systems out there,
Mm-hmm.
the methadone program, but
Okay.
and they got these programs on other web pages. I won't say who they are, but they're offering Suboxone and
Mm-hmm.
Subutex that you can go see a virtual doctor
Mm-hmm.
and get a prescription and never have to actually go in for a blood work or anything like that to be tested, or do a psych social to see if
Oh,
you are
wow.
really.
Really?
So anybody can get this online now, and I do not support these
No.
programs
Yeah.
because it's all about the money, man. And if you really, and they say, well, we really care, and if you really care, then our government would put more money in long-term treatment. I do not believe in
Yes.
28-day programs. You
Right.
can't get your head out of your tail 28 days to
No,
see your hearing.
it's true. You can't just give medicine, what do you want to call, you can't just say, here, this is going to fix you, and then say, okay, good luck. You can't do that. This is something that is going to be a lifelong process, and you're going to have to try to heal from it. And like you said, those are the type of programs that you need to learn. What has caused this? What are the tools you can use to face it, so that when you're starting to feel anxious, you're starting to feel that you want to use, you can identify it. Same thing, simple as the going to the gym and switching your addiction to something else. It's addiction that you're focusing on. And okay, so there's a quote that I was telling you about earlier. I had seen, right, on one of your posts. It says addiction is a feeling disease, and using is a way to numb those feelings. And I think that's the perfect definition, because it is to get rid of feeling, right? And medicine is not going to help you with that. You have to identify what are those feelings that are causing you so much pain, so that you can heal from it. Would you agree?
Yeah, you are so on point, young lady. It's amazing. See, when someone comes up and, how you doing today? Oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
No. But if someone asks you how you feel, I'm okay. Well,
Right.
okay is not a feeling. Good is not a feeling. Now,
True.
am I anxious? Am I depressed? Am I happy? Am I sad? Learning these key things, because sometimes I fool myself a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So learning how to express how I truly feel, and this was a big one for me when I first started getting clean, because when you learn, because every one of the steps really are to tear down these walls of being numb to start feeling.
Yes.
And whenever I started feeling, and my sponsor would be like, it's okay, feel it. If you got to, and I was taught I grew up in the generation where men don't cry.
Right.
Women stay pregnant and barefooted and in the kitchen.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And
certain generations were like that. That's it,
It's not true.
Yeah.
It's not true. And that we all are equal,
Yes.
and we should all have something to bring to the table that supports each other and not takes away.
Correct. You have to, everyone has to stop hiding from their feelings. Stop, putting on the mask to be like, I'm okay, everything is great. When people can just feel and be open about it, and then they can start to communicate with each other. And that's when you can really identify, okay, wait a minute, this person's not feeling so great today. Maybe I can help them a little bit to bring them up, maybe that person needs a little support. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ma'am?
Oh, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Okay. Just a
Yes, ma'am.
Just a technical difficulty. We're good.
Okay, I was sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, that's
I'm sitting
okay.
outside in the air conditioning over here in the house, and
no, that's okay.
It's important. It's like, see, believe it or not, we men, and I very few of them, we'll laugh about this when women ain't around, but we gossip more than y'all do. You know what I mean? And we can sit there and express our feelings to each other on a certain level, but we never really get to the root of what, you know what I mean? Because of that ego, that manly pride.
Yeah.
And you know what? I will not allow pride to kill me today. And I will not allow pride to deprive me of the relationships that I'm capable of having. Okay. My feelings and emotions are valid and need to be acknowledged.
Yes.
And accepted and felt, but I do not have to allow them to cause me to respond or react in a way that is destructive or negative in my life or anyone else.
Yes.
And that's the issue right there. Learning to step back and breathe for just a minute.
Yes. Nope, it's true. So, okay.
Yes, ma'am. Do you have anything?
I was just going to say, I'm going to actually start to wrap up the show. We're running out of time. So I just want to kind of reiterate some of your key points of what we talked about. So again, one of my biggest things that I really think is important is that, addiction is a feeling. It's something that you have to face. It isn't just one thing. Addiction can be put onto lots of different type of things in your life. So it's important for you to take a look at yourself and ask yourself, wait a minute, why am I doing these things? What feeling is causing me to act this way, right? I know that you're saying that, harm reduction techniques is something that is people need to look at individually, and don't just go for medicine from a pharmacist, right? Instead, it's a lifelong process, right? It's a lifelong process that you'll have to go through, but it'll be worth it, right?
Very much. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. You are awesome.
Thank you. It was very nice having you on this show. I appreciate it. You are just another eternal life student, which simply means human, right? We're not all good. We're not all bad.
Yes,
we're just human.
I've been called a human.
I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me today. So maybe another time, if I have another podcast, if you're interested to come, we can talk again. I might do another one. I did one on boundaries, but I like the one about being boundaries with yourself. I think that would be a great topic to discuss. So thank you very much. My pleasure. And have a very good evening, okay?
You do the same thing, and I look forward to speaking with you. Yes, ma'am.
Definitely. All right, everybody. Please make sure to check out our YouTube channel, Eternal Life Student. Subscribe and give us likes. We look forward to your comments, and we will talk to you again later on. Thank you so much, and peace be with you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so hold on one second.